What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Mr. Blak's True Hollywood Tales. The show where I talk about my time living in Los Angeles, California from the early 90s up until about 2015. I have like a lot of stories to tell, so I decided to make this a video series. Also, these aren't always time concise, they bounce back and forth. So, I gave you a general idea of where it's happening, what time it's happening at, but, it's not very always concise. It's just like as I get, memories that come to me. Especially ones that I think are relevant, like today's episode. That's pretty hell of it. I was talking to my spouse, Susie, also known as Dr. Bitchcraft, and we were talking, and I thought about one of my exes. Decided to look her up, just because not look her up as in like contacting her, no. No. But, just seeing what she's doing, and she's apparently doing the same thing. Now, what is the same thing, you maybe ask? Well, here, let me get into the story about my ex, Tina. So, one thing that I didn't mention, and when I first met her, she always told me about this. I don't really remember this much, but she swears up and down, like, it was like in the early 90s when I first got to Hollywood. Apparently, she was outside sleeping, and I had sat, there was a couple guys that looked like they were going to try to rob her or something, I guess, and I had just randomly sat down in front of her, and they just kind of just got discouraged and left. So she always said I kind of saved her life that night doing that, which I don't say that didn't happen. I just don't remember much about that. I was, knowing me, especially back then in my younger days, I was probably very oblivious, so I'm just sitting down. I probably didn't even know she was laying down behind me in that doorway. That's at it. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess that's the first time sort of meeting her, but I never actually saw her. When I actually technically full on met her and talked to her was a few years later, on Hollywood Boulevard. I'd say it was about the mid-90s. I had already broken up with one ex, and I was like, at the time I was kind of not really homeless at the time, but I was still hanging out on a boulevard. This is probably like 1997, actually. Yeah, about 1997. Maybe even closer to 98. No, actually, I'm sorry. I take that back. It might have been a little bit earlier than that. It was while I was with my ex I met her, I believe. Oh, fuck. See, this is the problem with doing these. I have to think back, and then my brain is like, It was somewhere in the mid-90s. We're going to put it like that. Met this girl. Her name was Tina. She was from Alabama. At the time when I first met her, she was a lot younger. She was chubby. She had like a cherub face. She was like really adorable. And her accent, because she had like a thick Alabama accent. And at the time, Southern accents really turned me on. So I'm like, oh, you're adorable and you sound adorable. Aww. She actually was back and forth between Hollywood and Alabama a lot. Her method of getting back and forth was hitchhiking. You know, he's literally been doing it for years, at least about 20 years. From what I understand, reading some of her posts on her Facebook, she still, on occasion, hitchhikes, and somehow she's survived. I don't understand that. You know, that's just some serious luck right there. But yeah. So I met her. She was actually living in a tent off of Hollywood Boulevard. What street is that? I believe it was Whitley. For those of you in LA, it's that street that's right across from the toy shop, Magic Shop. You have a check cashing place on one side, and then you have like a little convenience market, little liquor store on the other side. You know, that street wasn't that great at the time, but it wasn't extremely horrible. It wasn't great. It's completely different now, but it's over around the corner from where the King used to be, if that helps anybody who lives out there. For anybody who doesn't live out there, you could give a fuck. You're like, okay, whatever, just get on with the story. I don't know where this is at, so just tell me what's going on there, buddy. So, alright, I'm going to get to that. But yeah, she lived in a tent there. She wasn't really seeing anybody. We were just talking. I thought she was really sweet at the time. I thought she was adorable. You know, she was drinking. And that was like her only thing then. She was just drinking. I'd seen her on and off a few times. And it was, yeah, definitely during my relationship with my ex Virginia, which is gonna be a whole nother video, and that might be a long one. I still have to finish talking about Darl, the first one. I digress. Anyway, I saw her on and off a few times. Then I didn't see her for a while. And a lot of things were going on at the time. I ended up breaking up with my ex at the time. And then I ended up... I was kind of on and off homeless for a while. I don't remember what I was saying at the time. It was right before I moved out to Sun Valley. But at that time, and that was about 97, 98 at this time. Now I'm gonna say 97. And I ran into Tina again. This time, she's not really chubby anymore. I mean, she's a little chubby, but not that much chubby. You know. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I was in Sun Valley. I was living in Sun Valley, sort of, I think. I was kind of on and off there or something. But, I saw her again because I was working on the boulevard. There was like a little souvenir smoke shop, which had a tattoo shop and a body piercing shop back there. And I used to go there, and I used to make, because I used to do, like, hair wraps and make jewelry and stuff like that up in Venice Beach and Santa Monica. But after that fell through because of legislation. That'll be another video. I talked to somebody there, and I was doing it there, and I was kind of sort of a ear-piercing apprentice. No, just a piercing apprentice, not an ear-piercing apprentice. Because I was like trying to learn from. There was a couple people doing tattoos there, and it was cool, you know. I was there, and I would make like little pipes and stuff like that, like smoking pipes, you know. And I ran into Tina again on a boulevard, and we were hanging out again, and she came in the shop. I made her like a hair wrap. She hung out with a lot with another ex of mine, that's gonna be another video as well. Yes, I had a lot of exes, and they were all connected. Yes, there's a pattern here. Yes, I get it. So we hung out. I don't know how it came to be. We kind of hung out, but we ended up staying like, because she would get her, she got like a monthly check, and she would get hotel rooms for her and a few of her friends at the time. You know, they'd party or whatever, and I hung out with her a couple times doing that. Spent the night with her. I mean, we slept, together in the same bed. It wasn't like we did not actual sex. It was just, sleeping. There was cuddling, but there wasn't really any sex at the time. It was kind of on and off thing for a while. Then that's when I got with the one ex I was telling about, which I'm going to tell you about later. And that, for whatever reasons, did not work out. I'll go into detail about that in, like I said, another video. I was staying in Sun Valley at the time, and it's like, then I just talked to the the roommate that I had, who was hardly there anyway. It's like, hey, how about I just, do you mind just moving here? And she gets like a monthly check and everything, so it would be helpful with the rent, it's steady money. And she's like, okay, cool. So, well, moved Tina in there, and Tina was also seeing this other guy. It was some weird on again, off again, oddball relationship. His name was Buddha. And big Puerto Rican guy. I mean, you talk to him, he was kind of funny. He was, you talk to him, it's like, this guy's alright. He's kind of funny. He's got a really good sense of humor, I mean, you can tell he was a big Robin Williams fan, because a lot of the jokes and mannerisms were like throwbacks, like, oh, Robin Williams stand-up. It's like, okay, this guy's kind of cool. All right. But really, he was kind of a bastard. Because he was one of the reasons that main key people, basically, which I didn't get into a second ago, but she was now on doing meth. He was the first one to get her on it, and which he's still doing to this day. But yeah, and that was like, that's how he kept her around, He'd come around with a little baggie, they'd be snorting and getting high together, then they may or may not have sex, It was weird. And, I don't know, it was her and I had this weird thing. Wasn't quite a relationship, but we were really close. And I guess he was kind of cool with it, whatever. Because eventually, while living there together in the same spot, we actually eventually did have sex, and we kind of sort of were together. But we were, but weren't. But eventually, that we all got evicted from that apartment because nobody was affording the rent, nobody was paying the rent. It was just a weird situation. Everybody was all fucking that up. So, me and Tina ended up doing like hotels, living in hotels for a while, or being homeless. Since Tina was like, this was like that was her go-to. She was like the homeless pro, I guess, because she was somebody who actually stated that she is homeless by choice, because she likes to be free to whatever she wants to do aspect, whatever the fuck that means. I guess there's a logic to that. So we would sometimes live in her tent, like sometimes we would stay in like hotels, sometimes around the Hollywood area or in the Valley. A lot of it was mostly in the Valley. There was like, we would stay in this one hotel, which is pretty much shut down and abandoned right now. It's on Sepulveda Boulevard. It used to be like the hot spot for crackheads and the prostitutes that were running up and down Sepulveda Boulevard, which there still are, by the way. Not as much as back in the 90s, but they're still there. It's almost kind of like going back in time a little bit, depending on where you're at. But, yeah, it was an interesting spot. And also getting into it at the time between Tina and the other ex that I'll be mentioning in another video, I started doing meth at the time, so I'm getting high with them too. So we're at this staying at this hotel, and we're doing lines and shit there and everything. We were actually living in a tent for a while. She had this like 8-man tent, and we had put it up like by the side of the freeway out in Van Nuys area. It was like, what street was that? Oh God, it was. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember. It was past Sepulveda. I know that. It was definitely past. It was like down Victory Boulevard. Maybe, yeah, that was Victory Boulevard. You go down, you go past Sepulveda. I want to say Woodley, but not real. No, it's not Woodley. No, it was before Woodley. Either way, there was a street like in between there. It was in between Woodley and Sepulveda, and like over there you have the overpass freeway bridge. Off to the side you had a gated off area, which was foliage and trees and shit like that. Well, there was like a place that was cutting the fence where we would climb into, so we set up this tent, we set up everything. It was like, this tent was huge. It was big enough to fit like a dresser and a mattress in there. You could actually stand up in it. And I was like, alright, this isn't too bad, So we lived there for a bit, and as we were having, there's weird relationships, like her and I had a thing going on. Then she'd get with this Buddha guy and do things with him as well. So it was like, it's a weird back and forth thing. Eventually, there's this thing called Caltrans in Los Angeles. They, clamp beside the freeways. They also, destroy homeless camps that are there too. And they will take your stuff, your tents, your belongings, everything, and they will literally put it in one of those wood chippers. They will destroy your stuff. It's kind of a fucked up thing, actually. They don't really. I mean, if you're there, they give you probably maybe about 20 minutes to get your stuff for the police to run you out or arrest you. But if you just happen to be there, not there at the moment, they will just destroy your shit. And then you come back and you'll have nothing but what you have on your back. So yeah, there was that. We came back one day, everything was gone. I had belongings that were probably destroyed in there. I don't even remember what. But so we ended up, she ended up acquiring another tent, so we used to camp out. Oddly enough, here we camped out on Sepulveda, down Sepulveda in Victory. At the time, you had like a Dunn Edwards paint shop. I think Jack in the Box was there, or maybe it was before the Jack in the Box was there. I'm not quite sure. But there used to be a Frank's Duke's Ninja School there. Now, for those of you watching this, some of the name might sound familiar when I say Frank Dukes. Frank Dukes is the guy that movie Bloodsport was based off of. He actually had his own school right there on Sepulveda Boulevard. And we used to camp out behind it. And the cool thing about that, the guys that run it that were there, and I never actually, I think I'd seen Frank Dukes once, but I never actually met him. But I met his partner that, was an instructor there. And he was totally cool with us being there, as long as we kept things clean and everything. He was really cool, I mean, sometimes I think he left his water and stuff like that too. So we stayed there for a while, and eventually we moved into a hotel in North Hollywood that I've stayed on and off with them. Ooh, that's going to be, once again, that hotel is going to be another video. It'll all tie together, trust me. Stay there. we lived there for a few years. We lived there up until 2000, actually. So it was like we were there from '99. It was actually late '98, early '99, because we spent like a couple Christmases there. I remember that. You know, we were living there. We had a neighbor that I met at the time. Well, actually, a couple neighbors. So that was the whole thing. It's like while Tina and I were together, this was still kind of an open relationship. So, especially since she was still boinking this guy, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I can see other people too. Fuck it, you know. I guess that was the first, you know, poly relationship. It was more open. I don't know if I would care to call it poly, but you know, I dated a couple people. There was one girl I met, you know, who was a neighbor who I was like really good friends with at the time. Eventually, me and Tina moved out of there. Skipping some things here. I'm like skipping over a lot of shit. Okay, now here's the thing about Tina that what I haven't explained yet. And Tina suffered from some mental illnesses. The meth did not help with that, of course. And so, I mean, when she got high, okay, we both got high. When I got high, I did shit like I would sit playing Final Fantasy 7, 8, or 9 for hours and hours at a time. Or I would sit and draw or whatever, or just listen to music. You know, that sort of thing. Tina would get high. She would talk non-stop for hours. And she had like a collection of Pokemon cards, and then she had a collection of stickers that she kept in these photo albums. She'd get high and she would rearrange these cards, and she'd rearrange these stickers for 6 to 8 hours, literally, while talking. Literally, this was like a thing. It's like, wow, you know. You know, sometimes she would stop because, you know, we would end up having sex or something, or she was hanging out with Buddha and having sex with him, maybe, you know, that sort of thing. But, you know, for the most part, that's what she did a lot when she was high. When she came down, she would literally have psychotic episodes. I'm surprised we never got kicked out of this hotel, because when she was coming down, she would lose her shit, she would be screaming, she would be violent toward herself and others. There was this one time I was trying to get her calm down, she's cutting her arms. You know, she would have ways, if she didn't use a knife, she would find like a broken glass, like a bottle, and break it and use the glass. She'd cut herself, and it's like, I'm trying to get her calm down, trying to get back in her room, and she's just like, her arm is just like dripping with blood. And we're walking down the hallway, she's just rubbing her arm across the wall. There's this long blood strip going down the hall. It's like, oh my god. You know, and oh, this is fun. One night, she had a knife trying to kill herself. I tried to get the knife away from her. She's run outside. She actually cut my hand, but I got it out of her hand. You know, but I tossed her on the floor. We were in the hallway, and I got her inside, and I got her calmed down. Apparently, someone called the police. They knocked on the door. I walk out. They pull me out. There's about 5 cops in the hallways with shotguns. I actually got handcuffed. I had guns in my face. And it was like, yeah, we heard a disturbance. It was domestic violence on a knife. It was like, immediately, the first thing they thought, I was out there trying to kill her. There's a knife on the ground. Black guy. Automatically, I was like, I had to explain to them what was going on. And to Tina's credit, Tina did not lie or deny. She was actually truthful about what happened. And they're like, okay. It's like, okay, so we're going to let you go then, since that's explained. And they look at her, but we're going to have to take you in and put you under psychiatric evaluation for 48 hours. So she ended up in the mental ward for a couple of days. And I did not go to jail for some sort of attempted murder, whatever they want to pin on me. I didn't get shot at the time. I was really lucky. But she came back out, and this was like a regular thing, and I stayed with her at the time. I don't know if it's necessarily just drugs or what. But I still stayed with her, and eventually we did move out of that hotel. Further down towards the NoHo Arts District, there was a trans woman that Buddha knew that had an apartment. It was actually a one-bedroom apartment, but she had it divided up to where, the living room was her room, and the bedroom was Tina and I's room, and there was the kitchen and, the bathroom and everything. And we stayed there for a while, but honestly, eventually, all those psychotic episodes were just kind of getting to me. I was becoming closer friends with the girl Sue, who was my neighbor, which is going to be another video. And I actually was doing meth a lot less. I was still getting high, but I was trying not to do it so much. Especially when it came down to, Sue would help me get a job where she worked at. I'm like, alright. So I was like, alright, well, now I gotta stop now. And Tina was getting kind of angry that I was hanging out with her a lot. And eventually, things were working out seemed like they kind of work out with a little bit, but we weren't really together at the time, and she just offered, like, hey, if you want to stay over here, you can. And I was like, you know what? So basically, I had broken up with Tina. I finally, after all this time, actually broke up with her, and of course, Tina did not take it well. She flipped shit. She came over when I was a while over at Sue's place. She came over. There was still some stuff I had left at her house. Some were some pictures that meant a lot to me. She came over just to tear them up and throw them at my face while I was at the door. Just it was stuff purposely to hurt me. I never touched her. Her thing also, while in that mode would be like, hit me, go ahead and hit me. And I was like, no. Granted, I'll explain to you what the pictures were eventually, but the nature of what she did kind of brought me close, but I did not. Sue actually kind of slammed her up against the wall, though, so I'm like, okay, you can hit her, but I can't. That's fine. That sounds terrible. But yeah, Tina and I talked on and off for a while, for a few years. She was even up today, she's still getting high. She's still on and off homeless. She'll be living somewhere for a while, then she ends up homeless again for a while, then she gets her check-in, she's living somewhere for a while, then she's hitchhiking back and forth between Alabama and here, and she's got a place to live out there, but she chooses not to stay. Currently she is homeless in Pasadena right now. Like she usually is a lot of times. And it's like, she really doesn't even have to be out there. She has a place to go. She has places to go, but in order to do that, though, she would have to give up a lot of things like meth and stuff like that. And actually, the last time I actually talked to her, which was via Facebook, and we were talking. This was a few years ago, and I was asking myself, I'm like, I'm like, because she talked about, how hard shit was she was going through. I was like, yeah, well, I mean, maybe you're just gonna have to give up doing the fucking shit, You just kind of just move on from that. Start taking to caring yourself, Stop. Maybe just leave the meth alone. And she's like, no, I'm never gonna stop. Why should I stop having fun? I'm like, this is your idea of fun? God bless you. And that was the last time I talked to you because I can't. I couldn't deal with that. I've been sober for a while, keeping it that way, and it's a little heartbreaking, but what are you gonna do? And it's actually surprising she's still alive after all these years, honestly, doing the same shit. I know a lot of people from back in those days doing shit like that. Usually they either end up getting their lives together eventually, like cleaning up and everything, and they're like completely different than what they were, or they end up in prison, or they end up dead. Then you have that small percentage, kind of like Tina, they're still doing the same thing they were in 1993. About almost, the better part of 30 years later. And it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. I'm not doing that shit anymore, so I'm trying to, stay away from that, I guess. So there you have it, folks. There's that long, slightly depressing tale. Thanks for watching these. Like I said, it's been kind of had a break for a minute because a lot of shit's been kind of going on. Holidays don't make doing this shit easy, and also, as you know, Christmas time is kind of retail hell. So there's that. But I'm gonna try to keep on these, stick with my uploading videos every week. I have a bunch of different shows that I do on here. Maybe doing a couple more. The coming year, 2018, I plan on doing more. Fuck the FCC. We're still fighting that, so we're going to keep this YouTube shit going regardless. So yeah, I got lots more coming in 2018. More about that later. I have a brief update video already up, but there's more. I need to do one for the band as well. But thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, check out my other past True Hollywood Tales videos. And I'll see you next time, alright? Bye-bye.